This is going to be the final flash drive video. The comments are going to be turned off in this video. But if you will look below this video in the description box and click Show More, you will find links. Currently, there are only 3 links. But if those of you who have already received a flash drive and wants to be an anchor, simply send me the email address you wish to use and I will add it to the list. I encourage more of you to please step forward and become anchors regardless of what country you're in. Now, daily I'm still getting emails about people that are just now getting theirs that I mailed back in September. So be patient. The post office has lost its mind lately, and I really have no control over them. But flash drives, USB drives, thumb drives, memory sticks, there's so many names for it. I always used to call them the totem poles. It's a memory stick. That's what a totem pole is. So you remember. It's the monolith from Space Odyssey 2001, a big-ass flash drive, right? Everything's in it. But this is for those of us who have poor memories. Flash drives always come in handy anyway. Or USB drives, thumb drives, memory sticks, pen drives, zip drives, micro hard drives, whatever you want to call them. They're really all the same thing. They really first introduced this to us with the Super NES. The SNES is a big-ass flash drive, is really all it is. And then they switched us immediately to the disk drive, which were crappy, CDs and disk drives. The image gets corrupted so easily, they melt, they warp, the data deteriorates over time. But I had loaned a friend a Turok. It was Turok off Super NES. I loaned it so her kids could play. And they loaned it to their neighbor without asking me. And their neighbor lived in a trailer, and they had a trailer fire that burnt down. And I asked for the game back, and she hands me this charred box. It was just black and covered in soot. But indeed, it was my Turok, and I cleaned it up. I just took 90% isopropyl alcohol and cleaned it up, plugged it in, and it worked. And I knew that was the future, that CDs were crap. Don't invest in them. The data don't last. But if you properly care for your flash drives, if you eject them properly, you won't lose, your data won't become corrupted. So they're very good to use. All those old Super NES games, they all still work. And if they don't, they generally can be easily fixed if they haven't been magnetized. I used to love video games. Anyway, if you want a flash drive, go down in the link below, copy the link you need, and request your drive from there. If you can be an anchor, if you've already received one, or in the future if you've received one, just send me an email with the email address you wish to use to collect those drives, because a lot of people, they don't use their own email address. They'll set up an alternate one. So be sure to send me the email with the link in there. That way I'll just come in and add it to the list. And hopefully that list will grow over time, and more of you will become anchors, and we can just let this spread worldwide. Again, a lot of you are upset that why don't I upload these online? Why are they not in a cloud? I can't do that anymore. They used to be on torrent sites, and I had them all over the world, and they began becoming scrubbed. Most of the books that are in there you can still find online, but there's some of them you can no longer get online. They have been scrubbed, and once you get the flash drive, you'll begin to see which ones. It'll kind of make sense to you once you get it. But it is so much information in there that if we ever do come to the internet blackout, they're telling us we're going to have an internet blackout. If we ever do get to that point, you'll have something to do. And all this mask it up, lock it down, you have something to do. You can educate your mind. And there's something about reading. I loved books growing up. And watching a movie, we tend to forget pieces here and there. But there's something about reading that's very unique, especially when you get involved in the story and it has like a character theme going on in it. You start imagining it in your imagination to where a television or a screen is projecting an image at you. When you're reading, you take the words and you create the own images in your head. They're unique to you. Nobody creates the same image. It's variations of the adjectives, the descriptive words in the text that you create your own images. And to me, that's the difference between watching TV, which is just programming you, or reading, which is educating you. And it's you activate parts of the brain that you don't use when you are just watching a show. It actually can embed itself in your memory because you're accessing your mind's eye or your imagination to create the images that you're reading about. From text off the page to an image in your mind, instead of image off the screen to image in your mind. That way it's your own instead of what's being projected at you. To me, that's the difference between reading and watching. And then there's listening, hearing, which is unique in itself. Speaking of faith and hope, we're told that comes by hearing. Faith comes by hearing, which is faith, hope, grace, I believe, religion. That's all Piscean. It's all for today. And they use that at the pulpit. They use the fact that faith comes by hearing. Somebody told you. So keep that in mind about the way the brain works and the difference between the projection at you and the creation of your own images in your own mind. And where do those images come from? I can create whole worlds in my mind. But I do digress. This is a flash drive video, which is a memory stick, right? Add to our memory. All right, people, do what you got to do. Be the kindness. Bank that karma. We're tick, 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 tick. Mars is coming out of retrograde, but still in Pisces, still in that shadow period. But we should start feeling some of that pressure lift. Actually, it's really strong today because it's stationary, but it's fixing to start moving forward instead of being in that retrograde phase. So a lot of the depression should start lifting now, and things should become a little bit easier anyway. All right, bank your karma, become an anchor if you can.